everybody. Welcome back to The Best Thing Ever, a podcast where four friends and their friends go on a quest for bestness. Each week, we nominate a topic that could be the best thing ever. One of us gives a presentation, a deep dive into its history and philosophy, and then we give it the classic corporate employee review to figure out its strengths and weaknesses before ranking it on the master list of all of the best things ever we've ever discussed. This is episode 4 of season 1. Today we're talking about, quote, playing Halo with the boys, end quote. And you've got such great things to look for in this presentation, including why it's not Game Girl. Also, we're going to pwn some noobs and learn about a Steve Jobs oopsie doodle. If you're watching us on YouTube, of course, you're getting our sweet visual aids from FigJam. If you're not, you can do that by going to youtube.com/AlexFalcone. Or if you're listening at home, you can also just grab the Figma, which is going to be linked in our show notes for this episode, and you can watch along with these amazing visual aids we've put together. Let me introduce you to the team today. So this is our regular segment, 3 hosts and a lie. Today it's going to be 4 hosts and a lie. And first, actually, we should catch up on last week, which is the lie from last week was Hunter's. Hunter did not save a neighbor from a dog when he was 8.
You let them die?
Yeah.
Well,
Didn't even try to intervene. You know, it's unsafe. You can't get involved.
He saved a dog from his neighbor. That's what happened.
Oh, that's the
A
twist.
real man bites dog
what
type
happened?
of thing.
What
That's
happened to
way more
this
me.
is I have a scar on the back of my head from getting hit by a car when I was a kid.
Whoa.
It was barely moving. It was mostly my fault. But whenever barbers ask about it, I say that I saved a neighbor from a dog attack when we were both children. That was the
Why do
lie
you
I
say
came up
that?
with. Because and then I tell them it's a lie, but I tell them it's like a fun
okay.
story to
So I
tell.
like lying to people. It's fun. It's real good.
Dude, you can play Two Twists and a Lie
Makes you
in
feel like a
your
big
real
man.
life. Did you know that?
Look,
Yeah, telling
lying,
people- Hey.
lying is a muscle. If there's one thing I've learned from my sociopathic career criminal cousin, Robert, who I haven't spoken to in years. But there's one thing he taught me is that lying is an art form and it's a muscle. You got to work it out. If you're not
You do have
lying,
to practice
like
on
Rob,
low stakes situations.
Rob was so good at lying. I've never met a better liar in my entire fucking life, and it was just because he would lie constantly.
Yeah. Whenever the Trader Joe's people say like, "Got any fun plans this weekend?" Boy, I make up some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. We had actually in my band, we used to go to Dutch Bros a lot, and they would always ask you how your weekend was, and then they'd ask follow-up questions.
Yeah, they were
So
interested. Those people.
we would start with a lie, but then they'd be like, "Oh, really? What errands are you running?" And we're like, I'm sorry. No, that's not what's going on.
Your hot lie was errands,
Well,
and you couldn't even make up
what
an
a
errand.
lie.
See, it's a muscle,
Robbing
and
them.
yours is atrophying.
No. Alex, they were robbing a bank. All right.
Yeah.
And so they had to, everyone says the cover story, and they're like, oh no, this is
right.
Dutch Bro, a
Yeah, and
narc.
then this way, when the cops like came to arrest you, you can be like, "Talk to my Dutch bro person. He knows I was running errands. He can vouch."
I had to stop at Target for a candle. All right, let me introduce you, everybody. I'm Alex. I'm your host. I have been to every Major League Baseball stadium except for 2. It's a fun fact.
how many are there? Like, just for some context on
It's
this lie.
a great question, and I do not remember off the top of my head. But I can tell you that.
I kind of Dutch Bros to you right there a little bit.
No, I mean, I do know this. I have them in a spreadsheet, but the 2 that I have not been to are both in Florida, because obviously
Now
fuck
I believe
Florida.
it. Because you said
yeah.
there's a weird spreadsheet. Now I believe it.
Also joining us today, our marketing daddy is Ezra Fox. He taught Malaysian children about the grandfather paradox.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're teaching English to someone and you actually don't care if they learn or not, you can really teach them anything.
Yeah.
This is how you make an improvised explosive device.
No, I mean, there's still ethical rules, I guess is what I should say.
Yeah, that's probably
Those
true.
don't go out the window.
Also joining us, our angry socialist historian, Anthony Lopez, who also has an older brother named Anthony Lopez.
That is true.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Having a repeat. And then rounding out the hosts for this week, Hunter Donaldson is a board game influencer, and he has hitchhiker thumbs.
What?
Yeah, so just for the YouTube,
Oh, okay, that's
YouTube, you can
Oh,
kind of
God.
get if you
That feels like
believe
it might be true.
wait.
It might be
is that-
true, but I also you don't even know if this is my thumb. You know what I mean?
I don't.
The
It
magic of
doesn't look
editing.
like a human.
How
thumb.
would that help hitchhiking though?
I don't know why people call it that. I actually think maybe it's not good that
Well,
they
it's
call it
like-
that. I have
Yeah,
no
You know,
idea.
like in old 50s movies when like a guy is hitchhiking with a pretty lady and she does like the sticking out her leg thing.
Yeah.
and the crow stops,
nylons
your thumb is kind of in that shape. So it's almost like you're sticking your thumb out.
It looks like a hot leg.
Yeah, it looks like a hot leg.
Oh, it's
okay. That's where you're going. I thought you meant like it was like some sort of indication that I'm freaky. And
no.
If you
put tiny fishnets on your thumbs and then slowly revealed them, people would pull over.
Yeah, a little fishnet thumb action. Yeah,
that would be hot.
I hate that so much.
That's the worst.
So I won't do it anymore.
So that's the 4 hosts. So one of those things is not true, and we will reveal that next week. And then we're going to make this an honest fact because it would not be fair since you will be back next week to talk about it. But we have a special guest this week. The musician Laser the Boy is joining us. And Laser, you said that you wrote a novel about your dog when you were in middle school, and I believe you said from the dog's point of view.
Yeah, and it wasn't magical. It was just a normal dog.
It had just dogging powers.
Yeah, it was like my dog was a rescue, and then it was like this dog was sad, and then it got rescued, and now it has a family.
That's still nice.
That's so sweet.
Nice.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Do you still have it? This feels like it's like if mortified, but only for good stuff.
Yeah, I have. It's in like a college ruled 5-subject notebook.
A handwritten novel. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's incredible. Well, it's good to have you here, Laser. We are going to talk. We brought you on to talk about some video games today, something that you have more than a little bit of experience with. Today's topic, as I mentioned, is playing Halo with the boys. Anthony, so this was Hunter nominated this. Hunter, you wrote that. You wrote playing Halo with the boys.
Yeah, it was meant as like kind of a jokey thing. I think we've kind of taken it to a slightly different arena than my intention.
I think so. I think that's part of the fun. I think
we're opening this presentation with look at these rooms with stinky boys in them. So I wonder how well playing Halo with the boys is going to do on our list of best things ever.
Well, we don't know.
Starting with Sting.
Some of these look very fun. I like the dog sleeping on the couch in the middle.
Look, I'm just saying, I have not been in any of these rooms, but I've been in all of these rooms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like I have not. Yeah. Like I remember the first time I ever played Halo. I got invited to Mike Schaefer's house. I had never been. I grew up in a really
dude. I love Mike. Mike.
Great. Well, he's like, I go into Mike's house. We go into like his game room, which as a poor kid, I'm going to this rich kid's house. I've never known anyone who had like rooms to spare. Like they could make like a playroom. Yeah.
Crazy.
And he had like a pool table in there. He had 2 pool tables. I had never seen anything as extravagant in my entire life.
What?
As 2
What do you
pool
need the
tables.
second one for?
Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
But he had a bunch of TVs.
While somebody's racking, you don't have to slow down. You can just start the next
exactly. But yeah, we went and we played Halo. And I've been in all of these different rooms. I've been in this room with the guy duct taped to the ceiling.
Eating pizza.
Yeah, all of these rooms. I look at these and I smell the stale Mountain Dew and like.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I guess. Sorry, as the audiovisual interpreter. Yeah. Just picture a lot of screens, a lot of CRT screens, a lot of dudes kind of hunched over, various ages, probably looks like 8 to 35. Looks like there's a Christmas tree in one of them. There's like a LAN party. This is wild. There's got like a LAN party with computer screens on one side of the room, and then we got like a console on the other side. Yeah. There's so much. I
like the one on the right where the kid's also looking at a phone. I like we had to get all the sizes of screens available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what are those 2 doing? They're not even playing. They're just like sitting at screen.
They're like mods for the live stream or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So before you start, Anthony, so Hunter, you picked this topic. You nominated this topic. We all got excited about it, and I think we all knew this was more about communal video games. But the funny way you phrased it has some interesting implications that we also want to talk about. Yeah. So we are going to, and we need something to anchor on. So we're going to talk more about Halo. But Anthony is our resident historian. He's going to take the controls for the presentation for today. Anthony, please give us a deep dive into playing Halo with the boys.
All right. So, when I was kind of trying to figure out what I was going to talk about with this, I sort of, did a lot of research. I figured I would have to sort of talk about the sort of sentence piece by piece. So later on, I'm going to get into what I try to do with this segment is find like the sort of like things that had to happen before for this thing to become possible, So I'm going to get into like sort of things that had to happen for Halo to get big. But first, I thought it would be kind of fun to sort of start with the back end of the sentence with the boys and sort of talk about part 1. Why is it the Game Boy and not the Game Girl? When did video games become gendered? Do any of you guys know the story behind how video games became like a boys' hobby and item?
If I do, it's because you've told me before, and I feel like I've heard so many different versions of stories where it's like this was like computer programming was women dominated until this year, and then they were like, now it's boys only.
Well, it was
like it
was the video game
so many
crash.
things in the history of tech that are like that.
Yeah, so it's
I'll be honest. I used to know this, and then I became a man, and I don't care about women anymore.
There we go.
I fully knew this whole story.
Oh, to keep your memories, I didn't realize it was a severed experience.
Well, they replaced them with just pictures of boobs.
You get
wow.
You know, finish transition, you get a high five, and the doctor's me, he's like, so broads, am I right?
Yeah.
It's just,
get out there, squat, squirt, smack in the butt.
But so it all kind of comes down to the video game crash in 1983. So, you know, video games had been around for a while up to this point. They were very popular through the 70s and the early 80s. And in 1983, the bottom fell out. You know, video games before 1983, it was a weird industry, right? It was like games used to take 1 or 2 people and, you know, a week, a month to make at most. You would make a game very, very fast. You would sell hundreds of thousands, millions of copies. And then you would go do cocaine and fuck on a waterbed because it was the 70s, right?
It's going to be bad for your back.
Yeah. In 1983, the bottom fell out. So by the beginning of 1983, video games were a $3.2 billion a year industry. By 1985, it was less than $100 million a year industry.
Whoa.
It's a 97% drop, you know, and a lot of that came to, you know, like famously, Atari's E.T. was sort of the game that sort of began the crash. Like this one game failing is what ended up, you know, starting a cascade House of Codes failures. That's why you have.
And wasn't this one of those that was like only a couple people built it? Like we know the guy who fucked up
one
E.T.?
guy built E.T.
I've heard this story.
Yes.
This is crazy.
So there was one designer. He built it in less than a week because that's the time he had.
Yeah.
And it was a really bad, horrible game. And when it came out and it tanked, they printed, you know, hundreds of thousands of copies. No one bought any of them. And then famously, with a bunch of copies of E.T. and a bunch of other games, ended up in a landfill in the New Mexico desert, where they were dug up just a few years ago.
I actually got those though. I actually have those.
You have all of them?
You have one of those?
I got a weird feeling they're going to be worth something. So I went and got them.
Didn't somebody
Everything's cyclical.
I mean, you have pictures of the excavation. Didn't somebody excavate this? Like somebody went intentionally and looked for these games.
Well, it was a documentary that did it a few years ago. They dug them up to kind of like confirm the urban legend. So like it turns out that it was just a mass amount of inventory that got buried. It wasn't specifically just ET cartridges. There was a bunch of cartridges and hardware buried out there in the desert.
Have you played? Can you play? Like, is there like an emulator of?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
ET,
I don't know anyone who hates themselves enough to do that, and I know a lot of people really hate
You've
themselves.
got to have played this.
I have every Atari 2600 game on. Never mind. Don't worry about how I have those.
Never say anything. Bye.
But yeah, I had a couple days where I did like a tour of the 2600, and I loaded up ET for a second. It's just nothing.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. There isn't really anything.
It's not bad enough.
From what I've seen of ET, it's
just
like
nothing.
It's like an open field, and then you walk around and randomly fall into holes, and then you have to climb out of a hole, and then you fall into another hole.
You don't really climb. You kind of just
sold me
float
now.
out. Like it's climbing would be a lot, actually. Climbing would almost be something.
Yeah, that's
Anthony. You don't even climb.
Here's a question, though, everyone. Could you do better in a week? Could you make a better game
with
in a week?
modern technology? Absolutely. Yes.
No.
23. Yeah, absolutely.
When I was in high school, I wrote some TI-83 plus graphing calculator games that became quite popular in my school.
Ooh.
It's got nothing on the TI-84. That's where the real games were at. You could play Doom on TI-84.
Alex, your raw sexuality is always very interesting.
Yeah, can you tone it down for a second? Jesus.
Look, people sometimes say that I'm not a nerd, and it's because I was in the wrong nerds. Yeah. It's not even the nerds that were interesting nerds. Like, superheroes got big, and I was like, that I backed the wrong horse. I was really into graphing calculator video games.
Yeah, it's like, it's a shame the Magic cinematic universe didn't take off, Alex. Is that the magic, the code magic and bowling cinematic universe never took off?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was just a game of like I learned calculator basics so I could make a game of a high school guy walking around talking to people. It was great.
So,
I'm gonna clip you saying they were actually quite popular in my school, and I'm just gonna play that over and over again whenever you text me.
So pre the crash, video games used to be for everybody, right? So video games were considered just family entertainment. It was electronics.
Yeah.
A lot of the ads focused on boys and girls, families playing together, right? And that was the sort of
and parents looking a little befuddled in the background.
Yeah,
I mean, if you just want to,
give us a vibe, Ezra.
Okay, so just imagine people with the worst hair all being really happy at a very small TV. I guess is the best way I can describe a lot of these.
Yeah. Well, and my favorite thing about
like
70s video game ads is that video games, because of the sort of the technological abilities at the time, was so sort of abstract that when you had to create an ad for it, you had to like look at weird little dots and go, "Oh, that's like a monster, obviously. So we're gonna draw a fancy monster that looks like 4 pixels."
Right. The graphics of the game can't keep up with this. I like the ad that includes tic-tac-toe and the phrase under it, "You lose, turkey."
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And also, what is tic-tac-toe board, to be clear? The O's, which are squares, just went all 3 across the top. And X it never occurred to them to stop the forward progress of
I mean, that is a very warranted burn then on that foreplay of X.
I call that person turkey.
Also, that ad for the Vectrex, that guy looks like Jack Nicholson from The Shining, no joke. And in fact, his kid actually kind of looks like Shining kid. That's pretty. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing in there, but I'm not sure I'm with it.
What on earth is in this grocery bag? In the
I think those are mushrooms.
Those
we
are
have fake mushrooms.
Millipede because it goes around eating the mushrooms.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like somebody had to look at the graphics of Millipede and be like, "Oh, mushrooms in a bag. That works."
Big purple mushrooms.
He's this dad, this Charles Grodin looking dad, does not like the bag of mushrooms he has. It's kind of like it's like upside down, like Louisville Sluggers, I want to say, which is like kind of like the little tip
end of baseball that's about purple.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, like a bag of holding with just bats sticking out of it. Very confusing.
I've purchased 18 bats. Maybe now my wife and daughter will stop playing video games in the middle of also shopping for groceries.
Right,
man.
In this void, in
this great white void. This does look like fun, honestly, Anthony. These were good times. Weird hair, but good times.
Good TVs that weigh more than if you combined every piece of electronics that you have in my house right now and stack them on each other.
That TV is 1,000 pounds, but it's also so handsome. The like wood cabinets on old CRTs
looks
are
like
so
real
beautiful.
stuff.
Big buttons.
It looks like furniture, like real furniture.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. So video games were dead for a few years. No one wanted to get into them. And then this goddamn plain code company from Japan comes along with a little system called the NES. Originally the Famicom. They rebranded it the NES in 1985. That gets released. And now, so with the crash, like I said, everyone got burned. Developers, publishers, retailers ended up with thousands of pieces of inventory they could not sell. No one wanted to take the risk on video games. So Nintendo had to drastically reapproach the way everything about video games were marketed, right? So that's famously the Nintendo seal of quality. That's where that came from, because a big part of the crash was just so much garbage flooded the market that's why Nintendo put that little seal of quality sticker on all their boxes to let you know.
Which they just meant they played it, they liked it.
Well, yeah, and it was a real game, and it wasn't like with Atari and stuff like that. People were just producing unlicensed garbage all the time. So if you saw the seal of quality, you knew it was a real game that Nintendo had okayed, and that you were going to get something good, hopefully, right? So
yeah, this is actually where Nintendo got their reputation for being actually pretty difficult to work with, is I think from living through this era. Yeah. They did not just play it. In fact, they were very opinionated on exactly what you could and could not do on the NES.
In a way, it is sort of like the culture of this very strict sort of Japanese company that's been around for Nintendo started well in the late 1800s as a trading code company. They've been around for a very, very long time, and they had a real sort of high quality that they tried to do everything at.
It is wild. What a wild swing for them to create a system.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had already been making arcade games since the 80s, right?
Okay.
So they decided to get in the console market.
Okay. Man, these just looking at an old NES, I do have a lot of sense memories from this. Man, and this was early for us. I was very these were already a little old by the time I was playing them, but man, I can feel that square controller digging into my palms.
I was going to say, did we not have any rounded corners, I guess, back in the 80s? Is that what the issue was?
No, you could only your only options
all
were
90 degrees.
Rhombus.
No, the thing is, all design in the 80s came from people, like I said, looking at lines of Coke, which were all very straight and very angular.
This way and this way.
That's the line, man.
And then late in the 80s, they looked at a straw and they were like, "Oh, it could be round," and then it just blew the doors off it.
But Nintendo's other sort of big innovation was to market it as a toy, right? So that was their new thing. So video games before the NES were considered sort of like electronics, right? And when they decided to enter sell it as toys, because no one wanted to sell video games, but everyone was still selling toys. It's the fucking 80s, right? Toys were huge.
Right.
So they could sell them as toys, sell them in toy stores. And that was the idea. But,
So they went from being like, this is the whole family gathers around like they used to do with the radio back in the day. Now they all gather on the TV and then they gather on the Nintendo. And now it's like, no, this is for kids to grab at the toy store and play with.
The thing, this is still true today in 2023, but it was especially true in 1985, which is in a toy store, you have to pick what section are you going to be in, right? All toys are either for Master Chiefs or for Samus Arans. They're never for both, right? So
I don't get this, but both of these robot people look hot.
Yeah, I mean they are both hot.
We found your type, Alex.
Dude, I like the shoulders on this right hand one. Wow, look at those.
The bulgurins.
Yeah, but
that's like this is like 80s suits, but bigger. Yeah,
so
I like these guys.
You had to sort of choose, right? Are you a boy's toy or are you a girl's toy? Right?
Right.
And that was the choice they had to make. And Nintendo did some research, and kind of like the thing you were saying earlier about like the way these things are sort of self-fulfilling prophecies, right? Because boys, especially in the 80s, were a little bit, newer to be early adopters. In Nintendo's early market research, they mostly saw boys there and not girls there. There's this sort of thing that with Samus's will buy Master Chief toys, but Master Chiefs will never buy Samus toys. You know what I mean? Like that part of it.
I mean, that's true with everything.
Yes, exactly.
That women are raised to be sympathetic to men, and men are just like, why would I do that?
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, that is why, literally, why it's called the Game Boy and not the Game Girl, right? Because girls will buy a Game Boy. Boys won't buy a Game Girl, right? That would not have happened in the 80s. So, because of this sort of forced paradigm of, where are you going to be sold in a toy store, that's when they started really marketing towards boys. Now, what this does is not only, like I said, creates sort of like a chicken and the egg sort of cyclical thing where you feed into boys is what you get out. It also, it creates this culture where people think that girls just don't play games, but that's never been true, right? So 42 to 47% of video games are played by women. A lot of people on the internet are super shitty. I mean, this is all the way through. This is all the way through video game history, right? There's this sort of sense of girls' games, The Sims, Animal Crossing, and stuff like that. That's what girls play. They play Candy Crush and play Bejeweled. They don't play, shooters. But that's not true, right? The most popular game for the 360 with men was Halo 3. Most popular game for the Xbox 360 for women in 2008 was also Halo 3, right? We do have this sort of idea of 68% of women have talked about hiding their identities in online games to avoid harassment. That is obviously
okay. A quick counterpoint though. What if you're a girl and you say that you're a boy online because you are a boy and you don't know it yet?
Yes.
Maybe that's what those women are doing.
They're not accounting for that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insane. It is the type of thing that's a best case scenario. But imagine if every time, if 68% of women who went to the movie theaters had to put on a fedora and a trench coat and pretend to be a dude because they wanted to see a movie without getting harassed, right? It's
just everybody in the movie theaters is in Mulan gear.
Yeah, exactly.
The full Mulan battle gear.
And then
actually, hold on. I need a minute. That sounds great.
Then down here, even though I said women have always been a part of gaming, I want to talk again that sort of thing that Laser was just mentioning, that women being sympathetic towards stuff. I mean, you can see if you look at any ads through video game history, women are such troopers. The fact that they would be
I don't want to summarize these ads visually.
Yeah, these ads suck.
I mean, like, famously, this right here, this torso of a woman.
Literally just a torso. Somebody
as a pre-order bonus for a game. This was like 8 years ago. 5-6 years ago. This wasn't that long
Jesus
ago
Christ.
that they tried to sell just a mutilated woman's corpse as like a special edition bonus.
Jesus.
For a video game.
The one so the main one looks very 80s.
Oh yeah, I remember when he couldn't keep his hands off
in her underwear. So she's like,
playing?
Look, I'm a sexual object, and he's not paying attention to that. But then he's playing a video game where the controller is coming out of his dick.
Yeah.
Like,
and
he's
also,
got
it looks like the boss is fairly phallic as well.
Yeah, it's kind of a phallic whole thing going
the
on
boss
there.
his head is on a neck made of dicks.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
It's whew.
That's the
Here's a weird thing also though about that ad. There's a second player that's live in that screen that we're looking at. And so she is supposed to be there's someone else supposed to be playing that game. And so maybe
actually,
I don't know what's going on.
I actually think
He's
she's
the first
just having
player,
a
and his dick is the second.
It has 0 points then. It's a very poor second player.
Well,
just point out there.
That's been my experience as well. Yeah.
So, it's an incredibly complex subject. I'm not really doing it justice here, but that is sort of like a quick history of sort of like gender in video games, right? Obviously, things are getting better, but obviously, it's not fast enough or good enough. I almost pulled a bunch of great quotes from like a bunch of there's like a fighting game player who has a great quote about how like, you can't tell me not to be sexist. Sexism is a part of my culture as a gamer. It is like if you.
I like. Okay, so here's the cool thing about that, though. If you let him have that, then whenever someone's being sexist somewhere else, you can be like, "That's cultural appropriation, bro. You got to stop."
You can't take that's a gamer thing.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that around here.
His culture is not your costume, man. Stop doing it.
It's so funny. I mean, like I almost put in a long section about like the great work of like Anita Sarkeesian, who's a female writer who does a lot of stuff about sort of like women's place in media and society. She decided to do something on video games like 10 years ago, and the entire world fell apart, and somehow we got Trump as president. I don't know what happened. Anita Sarkeesian decided to make something about video games, and then Gamergate happened. And we got Trump as president. It's that insane. That's how crazy sexism is ingrained in video games.
Can I just read some more from this terrible 80s ad with the dickhead guy? I scream, but he doesn't hear me above the 15 channels of pure pulsating stereo sound with 7 dedicated to real voice speech.
Pulsating.
She's screaming, and you can't hear her.
Do you read this last thing? I'll show him. I'll play that Neo Geo and beat the pants off.
Yeah. So there, she is going to be second player as your dream came true.
Yeah. I mean, girls who game, like this used to be my whole life, right? I was a nerdy girl going to conventions, going to like video game conventions and stuff. And there's that fine line between any girl who plays video games is extremely hot, and like that's the ideal dream. And girls don't exist in video games.
Yeah, don't claim to do this. You're not serious. Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say I've been on testosterone for 6 months, and these ads with boobs would work for me. So I get it. Like,
but would they make you want to play that dick video game and hear the 17 channels of pulsating sound, or would they just make you think like lingerie in the 80s was kind of fun?
Make a woman scream, you know what I mean? Like, sure,
right.
Yeah,
that's the fantasy, right?
I mean, the thing about this that's so sad, one of the things that makes it even sadder to me is that nerd culture has been such a safe haven for me, where this was this was the group that was accepting when other groups are not accepting. And so to have them also be exclusive is like mind-bogglingly backwards. Like you're the place people can go and be weird, and they don't have to be this hot 80s lady. They can be whatever they want to be. And then you're like, nah, but we have a very strict entrance criteria. It's very upsetting.
It's the thing of like, I've been bullied, so I'm allowed to bully other people.
Yeah, exactly. And it is like this illusion. One of the funniest things about games, something I also meant to sort of, pit in here about numbers and stuff, is that, video games from the last 15 years have been a more profitable industry than movies and music combined, right? Video games are the culture. They are the biggest entertainment industry in the world, right? So it kind of goes with the same thing. You see this with a lot with like kind of nerds who grew up with like Marvel still being very defensive about how like it's our own things. Like, dude, it's everyone's thing, all right? It's literally the biggest thing on the planet. You're not unique to it anymore. And video games have the same sort of vibe to it, you know?
Right.
And that also bothers me. Like, if you were into a thing and it became big, you don't have, like, this is just people hanging out in your club. It's not like, how dare they come hang out with, like, you're the accepting group. Let jocks hang out.
Yeah.
Let them watch your dumb movies.
Right. Absolutely.
It's so frustrating. I mean, it really, like, the acceptingness of groups like this really meant so much to me that I am just furious at them for not paying it forward.
Well, speaking of...
Yeah, also it's cynical. It's not real. The thing is, the marketing is making a call here, but even so, like we were kind of talking about it before, like before the crash in 1981, Centipede came out, designed by Ed Logg and Donna Bailey, and when that came out, Atari had internally recognized that Centipede was really popular with women specifically, and they recognized this, and then we're like, that's interesting. Let's never figure out why that happened or anything. Like, let's not, you know what I mean? Like, they were just like, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's an outlier statistic.
Let's just kind of move forward. Like, it's not that they're literally just arbitrarily deciding this. It's like Mad Men. They just decided who to sell it to.
Right.
That's it.
And
that's the end
is
of
like
it.
I said, it was the market research. It was because of the industry. No one had a lot of money to cast a wide net. They needed to be very specific. Right. And again, that's what feeds into this feedback cycle of how you end up like this. Let's get into part 2, or what I call pony noobs, or the road to Halo.
The Rock.
I forgotten how much The Rock was all over the original Xbox launch. For some reason, they just...
Dude, there's not a better odd couple than The Rock
Bill
and
Gates.
William
Why did this not get like
Gates.
greenlit like 2 seasons right away? The Rock,
Rock and Bill.
Bill Gates and The Rock hanging out is so funny.
Yeah.
So
just
cute.
look. I mean, do you know how big The Rock is? And the original Xbox controller is so big compared to him. I love this.
It's like the size of his torso, basically. It's as
but
big
it's
as
smaller
his
than that
torso.
one where the guy had to wear it with a shoulder strap and hold it at his junk level.
Yeah,
that was a big controller.
I think the Duke is probably bigger. So this second part is going to be a little bit faster. It's going to be kind of just sort of like I said, sort of the major things that sort of had to happen for Halo to kind of become a thing, right? So I want to start. Obviously, you can't talk about any kind of first-person shooters or video games without talking about id Software, which was founded in 1991. They made a bunch of games that weren't first-person shooters, and then in 1992 they created Wolfenstein, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, which was essentially the first-person shooter, right? Doom was released in 1993.
What are you shooting in that one? Are you shooting wolves?
Nazis.
Nazis.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's weird, right? They're returning to the castle. Is there like, there's not like in the 80s, like just like, I don't know, like a side scroller where they're in the castle just hanging around?
So
really?
Wolfenstein was a old PC engine game, PC game from way before that they got the rights to and decided to remake it in a new perspective. So Wolfenstein, there is a 2D side-scrolling version of Wolfenstein. But in 1992, they kind of create...
Are you wolves? Are there wolves in this?
No, you are BJ
Blazkowicz. Okay.
A Jewish soldier who hates Nazis and just wants to kill them all, including Hitler, and that's what you do.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, Wolfenstein, great series. In 1993, they create and release Doom. Doom is the original, like, true first-person shooter, right? Doom invents the language for it. We enter the era of the Doom clone. You know, for a long time, FPS first-person shooters didn't have a name; they were all just called Doom clones. In 1996, they released Quake, which sort of pioneers online play and like really popularizes multiplayer. So like this kind of lays the groundwork for obviously not just Halo, but like so much of this industry. And the work in game design philosophy comes down to, you know, these fucking weirdos at id Software who are all lunatics.
They look like, as opposed to some of the other, these look like kind of fun lunatics.
Oh yeah, for
maybe.
sure. They were fun lunatics. Yeah.
I mean, I can smell this room as well.
Oh yeah.
But
right.
They look fun.
The very mullets of it all.
Yes.
John Romero is the guy
Senna.
that's making the really funny face in the top there.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of he's a slightly controversial figure, I guess, in video games because he made some real bad ones. I think he's a real sweet dude, real funny
John
guy.
Carmack.
Oh, nice.
His tank top says "cool guys."
So you should have known. Of course, he's a cool guy, Hunter. That's how you get that. Sure, you can't buy that tank top.
He does literally say "cool guys."
The sort of next major step that has to happen to get us to Halo is first-person shooters got to come home. They got to come to the home console, right?
Yeah.
So GoldenEye gets released in 1997. Alex, I don't know if you ever noticed. Have you ever seen this? The weird image?
No.
Can we describe this? I guess. Okay, so if you've seen the GoldenEye cover, it kind of looks like Pierce Brosnan's hand is maybe lined up with his mouth in a way that you realize, oh wait, you can get like a smushy face from it.
So just because of very wide
it's the type of thing
hand.
like. It's once you see that Tom Cruise's tooth lines up with his nose perfectly, you can never not see it.
Wait, what?
This just look at Tom Cruise's teeth at some point.
Okay.
You'll see it immediately.
All right.
But this
I already have a browser tab with that open. So.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where I come in for playing Halo with the boys. I did play Halo with boys later, but I played a lot more GoldenEye with boys, and this was more formative for me.
So this, split screen multiplayer, a first person shooter, Doom had been ported to the Super Nintendo. You could play first person shooters on home consoles, but the controls were never really good, and the game design wasn't really evolving past Doom. Right? GoldenEye for N64 introduced a lot of cool mechanics, like open-ended levels, and it had a control scheme that worked for first person shooters. Yeah. There was sort of one big problem, which was
the chalky joystick.
This fucking controller and the fact that we only have 2 hands and not 3.
Right, and it's made
for some reason the controller thinks you have 3 hands. Yeah. So this controller is what kind of held it back, right? There was, I don't know if you know this, Alex. Did you know that in the original N64 GoldenEye, you could plug in 2 controllers and then play essentially dual stick with one controller in each hand?
Oh.
Yeah, so you can do that on the original.
You wouldn't even need junk to do it, and like with that guy.
You could do a third controller that rests on your junk, but it's not very good. It's not scoring any points for you.
So we actually did an episode of Old Gamers Almanac about GoldenEye about a year ago, and we played that mode you're describing, but we played it with 2 people, and it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Wait, so you were each one hand of it?
You just kind of turn Pierce Brosnan into a multifunctional tank. It's like
it's the Pacific Rim mind meld, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Jaeger. You're controlling the Jaeger,
and stuff. Basically,
I mean, it is fun to some of those you look at old Centipede graphics or whatever, and you're like hilarious, but it's this is clearly. It's still kind of fun to play with those graphics. They don't bother me. It's I'm playing this old-timey video game. I played GoldenEye fairly recently, and the fact that the people are all made out of flat planes at weird angles is very bothersome.
It.
Yeah. Not too many polygons for my preference. Thank you very much. I only want a few.
There is here's the thing though. At the same time, GoldenEye has, if you shoot an enemy in the leg, they grab their leg.
Yes.
If you shoot them in the arm, they grab their arm. There are modern video games that don't do that kind of attention to detail. Right. There are even GoldenEye is a game that it doesn't really hold up super well. I think mostly because of the control interface, but there are actual innovations that you can kind of see in the game that are pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like I said, this control scheme is really GoldenEye was obviously a huge hit, but first-person shooters were never gonna take off with that. So, around the same time in 1999, I don't know if you know this. Here's a picture of Steve Jobs announcing Halo as a Mac exclusive.
Whoa! And these are wild looking. Look at all these polygons. Look at these guys.
Yeah. So this is when Halo was a real-time strategy game that would be played in third person and would have been a Mac exclusive.
What?
So it's Warcraft or something?
Yeah, exactly. That's what Halo was originally developed as. It was developed as an OTS.
Huh.
And it was originally, like I said, gonna be for Mac and PC, but they were gonna be Mac's big flagship game. So this is kind of like a fun, novel thing. You can find video of Steve Jobs being like, "Halo." It's very
wow.
We invented it.
I'm a good Steve Jobs, Tony.
Yeah, thank you. I try. Better than Ashton Kutcher, not as good as Michael Fassbender.
Right in the middle.
Right there in the middle. It's not a bad place to be.
So the next kind of really important thing happened a year later with a really bad PlayStation game of the Alien Resurrection. I don't know if you guys know anything about this game. This is a very, very bad game. It was a rush development. It's not very good, but it did have one sort of novel thing to it.
You walked around and you fell in a hole?
No, so here's a
you could climb back out of the hole.
Oh, finally! Gamers have been begging for this.
So the GameSpot review sums this up very well. Talking about Alien Resurrection, the GameSpot review, it says, this game's control setup is its most terrifying element. The left analog stick moves you forward, backward, and strafes right and left, while the right analog stick turns you and can be used to look up and down. Too often, you'll turn to face a foe and find that your weapon is aimed at the floor or ceiling, while the alien gleefully hacks away at your midsection.
Huh.
So this game invented dual analog controls,
like normal
and
control
got shit
is what
on.
I think of this as. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Alien. This is the game that invented that, and everyone.
I want to know who wrote that GameSpot review, and
and do they feel? Are they sorry?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. It wasn't a great game.
Explaining this style of control to my wife yesterday when I was playing Zelda on the big TV, and it was hard for her to wrap her mind around. So I can see if you didn't grow up with it, trying to control your body with two different sticks. This is like playing also drums, or she said it was like patting your head, rubbing your belly kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild though, Anthony, when you think about like the key turning points you're all picking out, basically like movie adaptations and also just aliens as well, right? Those seems like the two threads of this, right? Which is like that's the stuff that's like pushing it forward.
Well, that's I mean, a lot of this you shoot aliens because they bleed green blood, and then Tipper Gore doesn't get mad at you or whatever. Like the people who are mad about video games don't care as much if it's green blood.
Well, I mean, like so much video games. It's a very weird thing. Like one of my favorite things about growing up with games is that like as a huge movie fan, there's not a lot of like innovation you see in movies. Like there's obviously innovative movies that come out that do new things, but like I often think I get jealous of what it must have been like in like the 50s to like go see a movie and like see the first time someone did a fucking like zoom lens,
right?
Or like a crash cut or something like something you had genuinely never seen. And video games, that's like the closest we got to experience with that, right? My entire life, video games have been evolving drastically. I got to see so many first in gaming that no future generations will be able to get to see. And like that's very exciting for me personally. And I do think like kind of falling ass backwards into things and video games being like, movies were always the same way. It's this push and pull of art and commerce, right? And video games are like that, but the commerce completely ate the art day one and said, fuck you.
Yeah, they were like, we're not letting the art in here at all.
Yeah. So art has always had to kind of squeeze through, like weeds breaking through concrete, right? And I think that's really fascinating and my favorite thing about someone who's played games his whole life. And it's just these fun. You get all these fun little footnotes, like Alien Resurrection, a game no one remembers and was very bad. Some designer there came up with an idea that drastically changed all games going forward.
And
Is it
that they didn't implement it well and now it's implemented better? Or was it just that people's brains had never done this and so they were annoyed at having to try?
So it was, a bit of it not being implemented well, it being a very steep learning curve. One of the big innovations with Halo was one of the designers created this thing, and the games have always kind of done this, but when the game kind of cheats, right, between like applying nice auto aim, and one of the things that like Halo innovated that all games do is that your player and the character you control doesn't necessarily do what you input, but does what the game thinks you're trying to do.
Interesting.
So something like Halo through like auto aim and like adjusting your thing will be like, okay, you're pointing a little off, but let me just kind of
I'll give you this one.
to be pointing over here.
It'll feel right to you.
So like they do. Halo invented a lot of little shortcuts and
this
a lot
is
of little
basically
tricks.
the first step of the AI going, what if there just weren't people around?
Yeah,
the game would be easier to play if there were no human inputs.
Why
Let's
do these
kill all the
human
humans.
beings have to play? I want to say something about Alien Resurrection before we move on. I want to say that the whole right analog stick, double stick design that is normal now, I think it was better before. I'm going to be an old man about it right now and say that this actually sucks, because the way it used to work was you would have to use like the shoulder buttons to like turn. And the thing is, when you do that, it makes it feel like every game you play as a guy and he is basically a car. Okay. You're basically driving a guy around. And let me tell you something, it was way more fun than all the realism we have now. Realism sucks. I just want to drive
a car that can shoot.
I want to drive my boy around, okay, and shoot. All right, I want to drive my boy and shoot.
Yeah, I miss the old like. Oh,
can I say that I produced a musical last year, and one of the parts of it was there was a remote control car. And the person we gave the remote control car to had never played video games before and could not use the remote control.
Oh, dang.
And we didn't realize this until 4 shows into a 5-show run that like it's not their car, because the car would run into audience members. It would stop.
No, I kind of like this now.
Yeah,
just like a loose BattleBots element going around.
People would just have to pick it up and throw it off stage.
Yeah.
It was, and then we realized, like we could just give this to somebody who knows how to play video games, and it would be fine. It's just a control system that is not intuitive if you haven't done it your whole life.
Right. I mean, it's very similar to what happened on Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark. The Edge didn't know how to play video games, so he kept fucking stuff up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with all of this kind of ready, this sort of sets the final stage.
It's time
for Halo. So you know, after the Steve Jobs Mac thing kind of fell apart, Microsoft buys Bungie in 2000. Bungie, I haven't really talked about. Bungie's the developer of Halo. They played a bunch of games before this, including like Marathon series, which Halo is kind of a spiritual successor to. So when Microsoft bought Bungie, you know, video games were getting big, but Bungie was still, I mean, a very small team, like less than like 50 people, I think, something like that, who worked on this game. It came in very, very hot. It went from being like a real-time strategy game to a third-person shooter to a first-person shooter. They had to cut a bunch of stuff. And because Microsoft bought them and they were going to release the Xbox, they had to be out the day the Xbox released. So there was an absurd amount of crunch, absurd amount of drive. Very famously, I don't know if you guys know this, the multiplayer in Halo, the original Halo, was deemed not fun 4 months before release. So they completely
couldn't get
scrapped
Nintendo's seal of approval.
They completely scrapped it and rebuilt it from the ground up in 4 months.
Whoa.
Wow.
So that was just crazy. This is people just living at these office, right? So like they completely rebuild. They invented pioneered a bunch of stuff. Like I said, about the kind of like auto aim and sort of like using computer programming to kind of predict what the player wants to do, not what the player is actually inputting. They have, you know, this great world building that they really go in on. They
added the
really
feature
nice
where pistols are too strong.
Yeah,
right? Wasn't that the
true,
thing on the first one? Is the pistols were way overpowered?
Pistols were crazy strong. I
think the pistols were just right. Okay,
I loved it. I mean, this is why I stopped playing when they nerfed the pistols. That was the only. I loved it.
Yeah, the pistol was fun.
You sound like a bunch of noobs right now.
Well, so
noobs.
I played a lot of Halo 1 because this came out not too long before our freshman year, and my roommate had it.
November 15th, 2001.
Yeah, so freshman year in college, my roommate brought one into our lives, and everybody was on LANs because we were in a college dorm. It was the perfect place to play a lot of Halo 1, and I played a lot of Halo 1 and then skipped a few, and then later I was like at a friend's house and you could fly. I was like, this is crazy. You can just fly in Halo now?
Oh, on your own? You don't need a
yeah, you could just fly, right? There was a time where people would just like go fly to you. It was weird.
Yeah, but I mean, like Halo pioneers a lot of stuff. Like I said, it has these big open areas that kind of hold over from the OTS things. It has vehicles. It has big combat things. It launches with Xbox. Here's a picture of the first person, I believe, to ever get an Xbox was this very sexy guy here.
Yeah. If you're just listening at home, just picture exactly who you think the first Xbox owner would be.
Xbox, yeah. Marketing really hated the name Halo. So that's why they slapped Combat Evolved on the bottom because they had to get the pros in. I love stuff like that. I love like some executive being like, Halo, the fuck?
Yeah,
this is dumb.
I gotta say, marketers have not come off great in this presentation.
Yeah,
but so on behalf of, I'd like to apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think from now on we'll get everything right. So don't worry.
Well, I don't know. Can we dunk on them a little more? The thing's called the Xbox. Why can't we just change it sucks. The Xbox as a name is such a horrible brand. Please,
you guys, Ezra, I'm sure you could say the smart version of this, but there's a thing about brands where like if the thing is fun, a week later, it doesn't mean anything anymore. The name just means the thing.
Yeah.
Like I bet
Xbox.com was available.
Exactly.
And so that's why. That's why
it's kind of like a box. They got that part.
It's the DirectX box.
Oh, it was
DirectX was
gross.
The thing that do you know why the Xbox 360 is called the Xbox 360 and not the Xbox?
Tell us.
Does it spin?
No, it's called the Xbox 360 because it was launching against the PlayStation 3. And the marketing department said, "Hey, if we have a 2 and they have a 3, they're gonna kill us."
Right. I mean, okay, look, no, I think the marketing team is right in that sense.
Yes. Yeah, they were like, if people walk into a store and see that we're on Xbox 2, but they're on PlayStation 3, they're gonna think they are much better. And then they follow up the Xbox 360 with the Xbox One.
Yeah, wait, that's less.
Up.
That's fewer numbers.
It's weird.
Yeah,
it's very weird.
Well, and
359
they did not do
less
well with that. So
yeah, exactly.
Okay, good job, marketing people. Also, Halo, that's about angels, That's not about robot military guys.
Well, technically, a Halo is a ring that was built by the Forerunners to defeat the Flood.
Very biblical. But it doesn't sound like Combat Evolved to me, whereas Combat Evolved, that sounds a lot like Combat Evolved to me.
That really evolves.
I want to put a pin in the voice that Anthony just used. Technically.
Yeah.
So we use this all the time. We used to call it the noob voice. And at one point, my friend Mike Moliano got stuck in the noob voice, and it was the only voice he used. For a while, it was like, Mike, what happened to who you used to be? And he's like, well, actually, no, it's just
this is always
has completely taken over.
That's like if you make that face too much, it's going to.
Yes, that's what I was just thinking. It'll get stuck that way.
Yeah. Okay, so Anthony, you've gotten us through the history of Halo, and playing Halo with the boys. You've got us caught up on what that means historically. We're going to take a break for an ad, and then we're going to decide how we feel about it. That is coming up now. And now a word from our sponsors.
Oh, you guys have sponsors?
We don't, but we would love to.
All right, so this is an ad for an ad?
That'd be great, too. I was talking to sponsors, showing them how good we'd be at shilling, but we're not even there yet.
I thought we were sponsored by Rats.
The Rats, you'd think, but they're not actually great at paying us.
Correct. So right now, we're doing an ad for an ad for an ad.
Yeah, we need to get people to listen, then show the sponsors that people are listening, then have an ad.
This seems like the most complicated way possible to make money.
That's marketing.
So how do you get people to listen by talking to the people who are already listening?
Yeah, they only have 2 ear holes, 3 if they're lucky.
Yeah, it turns out we have to get people to review us first. So we have 2 reviews right now, which is pretty good, until you realize we have 5 people on the show.
I just got here.
And I don't think you want to know what I actually think.
Hunter.
Yeah.
Can you review it?
No problem, but it's just going to be 4 stars.
It's a little harsh.
I think it's fair. There's not enough Hunter on the show.
Okay, fine. So just click review.
But maybe it is 5 stars because there is still some Hunter. This is not. These are. I did not write this. I want to say for the record.
just read it as is, man. We got to cut that other part out.
Yeah. No, you're right. But maybe it is 5 stars because there's still some hunter.
Cool. So just click review.
I'm going to say that it's 4.5 stars because it could be hunterer, but I'm rounding up to 5.
Thanks, buddy.
Whoa. I just felt a rush of dopamine reviewing this show and giving it an honest 5-star review.
Really?
Yeah, I just felt this overwhelming sense that everything was right in the world.
That sounds believable. So it's not misleading at all that anyone would have grounds to sue us.
I think I got more attractive.
Yeah, legal's not going to clear that.
Review the best thing ever wherever you get podcasts. Every 5-star review comes the chance of a free dopamine rush. That's Ezra's ad. Ezra does this for a living.
I mean, not this one.
All right, so this is time for our employee review, our 3-step review process. We're going to go over the strengths, weaknesses, and things we would change about, quote, playing Halo with the boys. Everybody can jump in here with your sticky notes as you like. One thing we're going to do a little bit differently this week is we're going to go through a couple of us individually, all 3 of our segments, instead of doing all the strengths, all the weaknesses, then all the changes. So I'm going to go through mine real quick, and then we'll go through some other people's strengths, weaknesses, and changes. So a couple of things that I love about playing Halo with the boys. I like hanging out. I also like meeting other people. I thought we met a lot of people on our floor that way as when we were in college. I think that's cool. I also love bonding by otherizing, where you're like, we hate those people, so we are on a team together. So now we are closer friends. So that's good.
Are you thinking about aliens, or are you thinking about the other people on our floor?
Or other people on the floor, like when my roommate and I are beating the guys across the hall, and we've made our playable name something that like insults something that's happened to them in the hallway situation. You know, a lot of fun group bonding that way. Things I don't like how fun it is to shoot people. Guys, I don't like that. I don't like
it's not the best.
I don't like shooting.
You're shooting people. You're supposed to shoot the aliens.
Well, yeah, not shooting the Covenant.
Not when you play.
If they were multiplayer, those are other Master Chiefs. Those are Master Chiefs all the way down.
Seriously, it's Master Chief and Master Chief Crime. And
technically they're Spartans.
Yeah.
Okay. And like the Spartan program was created by Dr.
Anthony, you're just gonna get stuck that way, man.
No.
I mean, look, I love that people do that. We've done that with a lot of video. There was an arcade game that I used to play, and I can't remember what it's called now, but it was a shooter, and it was too violent, and so they just made the blood blue. So you'd shoot people, and they look like people, and they'd be like blue goo everywhere. Like,
turns out they're blue inside.
They're blue inside. They're not like us.
That sounds
fine.
like an artistic choice, in my opinion, not censorship.
But I don't like that shooting is like such, not just that it's popular, but also that it's fun bothers me because I don't, and this will be one of my wilder takes, but I do think that influences people's feelings and makes them want to shoot people, and I think that's not great. Not all the way.
All right, Jack Thompson.
Listen,
Jesus Christ!
You really think that,
Alex?
Let me look. Watching Great British Bake Off makes me want to make cake. Watching Rounders made me want to play poker. The fastest I've ever driven is driving home from the Fast and the Furious. It's wild that in order to defend us, we're pretending that this is the one time doing something fun in a game would never have any influence on us anywhere else.
Does chess make you want to kill people? Like, you're killing people in chess.
I mean, only like regicide.
First of all,
here's my problem with
royalty,
that. Video
not people.
games.
Second of all, you're not dead. They're just sitting on the side.
Video games are sold all over the world, right? But only America has problems with these violence.
But do you think that every other game makes the thing seem fun, and this is the one that we're like, nope, I got a clean wall there. It breaks off between the game and real life.
Can I? So the research. I've actually read the book about like video games make you violent and what that research comes from, and the thing that they used was Grand Theft Auto, and the thing that like the actual research they found was Grand Theft Auto makes you more racist. Like literally, like that's like the stereotypes in the game. It's less about violence.
Anthony,
I have that as one of my weaknesses, and it's not called racism. It's called gamer words.
Yeah.
All right. Sometimes you just have culture. Sometimes it's called a heated gaming moment.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that playing first-person shooters makes people shoot people. I know that's not true, but it does make it seem fun, and I think that's a problem. I don't like that about it. I've never baked a cake. Every time I watch Bake Off, I'm like, I should make a cake. That looks so fun. I'm not doing it, but it does make it seem fun, and I don't like that about it. I wish that's not how it worked.
I think the main effect I've seen of that exact thing is that my friends who play too many video games, when they take a picture, they center your head in the picture instead of using the rule of threes. So I think that's the real danger.
This photo is extra effective.
Damn, I feel like
I mean, if you get 3 photos like that, you get a kill streak, and then you can like call in a UAV.
Rampage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also another weakness is that I cannot be trusted with video games, so I can't have video games around the house because it ruins my life. And then changes are, I wish they were cheaper.
Yeah.
Do you guys know how much video games cost? It's insane. It's
wish to have them be cheaper.
What?
You can just wait a lot.
Yeah, they're like cheaper, like, in the next month.
Well, when I bought Zelda, it was cheaper if I bought an SD card that I have to throw away.
Nintendo doesn't cut prices on stuff because all this stuff is evergreen.
That's crazy how expensive it is. The fact that you have to pay that much for the thing that plays it, and then it's still that expensive for everyone, that's crazy.
I think, 1, video games cost a lot of money to make nowadays. And then 2, I think if you average out in entertainment per hour, Zelda's way cheaper than like a movie would be.
Absolutely.
Right? Like if you've got 100 hours worth of movies at a movie theater, that would be hundreds of dollars.
Oh, I believe, Anthony, what you'll find is that would be $9.99 a month, and it would bankrupt itself. Ezra, why don't you walk us through your SWOT analysis? Give us your strengths, weaknesses, and changes.
So let's see. Okay, so I like actually being able to like be with people without having to talk to people. A lot of like my friendships.
You just love physical proximity, but you don't like conversation.
It's not that I'm antisocial, but I'm not always verbal, I guess, especially not when I was in middle school, right? So it's like it was really nice. Like I took over to my friend Jake's house and play with my friend Court and his brother Quinn, and we would like play like GoldenEye. I'd be really bad at it for like hours, and we just like I didn't even know if like what would happen. You just kind of like enter this like like a Twilight state of GoldenEye. It was real fun.
Yeah,
I'm the same way now. I need an activity to socialize with people.
Yeah. It's like bonding like side by side instead of face to face. Okay, so that was nice. I had a really cool handle when we played Halo, Alex, which was Hubris. So this is after like our
all the cool handles were freshman reading related.
Yes, exactly. So like you were told by Hubris at the top. I loved that. I wasn't very good, so it didn't happen often, but it was great.
We read the Odyssey, and then everybody wanted to be called Nobody. Yeah, there's a bunch of good classics references you can do in your handles. You've been shot by nobody. Yeah, how nobody stabbed me in my one eye. Anyway, okay.
My handle was scrap metal because I thought it sounded like a dude name.
Oh, it does sound like a dude name.
One dude, scrap metal.
What woman would want to be called scrap metal?
Right there.
Yeah.
Dude,
scrap metal seems to.
If I had a problem and somebody said, "I'll get my buddy scrap metal on it," I would feel so much better about my problem.
There's got to be a rapper, scrap metal the dude, right?
I love
that sounds
scrap
pretty cool.
Look, Anthony, I agree with you that if someone's like, I'm going to get my friend scrap metal on this, you probably think the problem's going to be solved, unless that problem is babysitting.
Sure.
Not going to let scrap metal look after the kids.
No, that's a Vin Diesel movie, absolutely. Turns out he learned a lot.
Yeah, it really does sound like that.
Yeah, Alex, your ignorance is really showing. Insulting scrap metal, saying video games make people violent.
Didn't say that.
You're really, really embarrassing yourself.
I said they make it seem fun to shoot people, and that is I think undeniable.
I don't know. How do you know it's not? I don't know. I've never been in.
Wow.
I've been to laser tag.
You proved my point.
Weirdest concession.
Ezra, please continue.
Okay, last thing on the pros for me. So like just sharing with people specifically. Like I've really enjoyed like playing like Mario Kart the last couple of years with my wife, kids. It's been really fun. I've been doing like my buddy Brian with a friend Leor. Like when we were doing virtually, we did it at places. So like that like. Especially like in the right dose, it's really nice as like a bonding thing. Like I only will play video games basically with people on the couch, I think, because that's the best way I can actually moderate and feel like I'm actually connected.
Yeah, I love it. What are your weaknesses?
Oh yeah. So I got addicted to EverQuest for a year, I guess, and lost like it's like late 2000, like I guess it was like 2000, 2001. So I lost about a year of my life that I would have loved to have gotten back. But also, I broke a mug after playing Overcooked 2 because I was trying to load the dishwasher too fast. Yeah, I mean that was the last like 3 years.
Not out of anger, out of accident.
No. As in, like it was the like I bet I could move really fast in the kitchen and be effective. Turns out you can break a mug that way.
By the way, I like Overclock 2 a lot, and one of the things I like about it is that you have to communicate out loud in meat space in order to succeed in the video game. You have to work together using verbal communication. It's very fun.
Yeah. And then lastly, for a change, I would love if there's a way to like just what's like the right dosage of this fundamentally, because I feel like that was a tough one for me to find growing up for sure. Where it's like, what is the right amount where my eyes don't hurt, and I still feel like I have other good stuff going in my life.
Yeah,
you gotta just push through that eye pain. It gets better. It just goes away at a certain point. What are you doing?
Well, this is what I was saying about not being able to be trusted with it. Like, especially with something like a questing game, like I'm playing Zelda again, which I complained about on the show like last year, and then I had to give it back to my sister, and then she gave it back to me now because it was ruining her life. But the problem is when I do something in a game, when I finish a level, I feel the exact same sense of accomplishment when I've like written a new joke or when I've sent an email for work.
That's wild.
My brain confuses those two really badly. And I feel like, man, I've had a productive day. I got into that giant mechanical camel and now he's pointing at the evil castle. And that's not the same. Like, boy, I sent a lot of emails today and I got a bunch of work coming up in the next few months.
Damn, Alex.
Sims is the worst for this because Sims, you're like actually doing life.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, I got the job. I did the. Oh wait, I am so behind.
You poured your hours into the wrong life.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, that's brutal.
Alex, I would not recommend you play video games. To be honest, that sounds actually really scary. To be like,
you don't feel
like playing Zelda. Yeah, like I don't think I've ever felt that. I mean, there are times where I've played a video game and felt like, heck yeah, bro, really nailed that one. But not where it was like, this is like real life stuff has happened to me now.
Well, Hunter, walk me through your. Well, you're not on here. You're not on the board. You're just in
I wrote
weaknesses.
Some stuff. I put some stuff in weaknesses.
Yeah, you just got weaknesses. So walk us through your weaknesses for playing Halo with the boys.
Game sucks, bro. Halo 2's better. Actually, Halo 2 sucks. Halo 3's better. It just keeps going. Like that's like every conversation that I had in high school with my friends about Halo. It'd be like, dude, Halo 1 sucks. And be like, no, dude, Halo 2. No, Halo 2 sucks. And it would just constantly be like moving the ball around, just
Is 3 the one where you can fly?
No, you can fly in all of them.
I don't know what
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think you can.
You can like get in vehicles that move.
When you say fly, do you be like
you're
here,
and then there's an enemy on top of the thing, and then you fly to him.
Oh, are you talking about like the rocket glitch from like Halo 2 when it launched?
Are you talking about the grappling hook from the most recent Halo?
Yeah, you could be talking about the grappling hook, or you could be talking about this glitch from Halo 2 that they like patched out. Like I don't know.
Alex has actually never played a video game. He just,
I don't know what's going on.
Dreams about them, about what they might be.
I'm pretty sure it was Halo 3, but it was you could just like one of the characters or one of the things you could have was you could have like a 4-second rocket shoes or whatever, and so you could fly to the top of a building or you'd fly from building to building. It might have been a different.
And it was in my house, but it wasn't my house. You know what I mean?
And I looked down and I wasn't wearing any pants.
All right, Anthony, walk me through yours. What are your?
So I mean, I have cool vehicles. I do think I really love the aesthetics of Halo. I think like the world building is really cool. I like that it's a game that is you can go from first person shooters to vehicle combat back to big action happening set pieces. 360 no scope is just fun to say. I have never done it, but it's fun to say.
Is that when you just spin in a circle without looking through your binoculars?
It's when you kill somebody with like a sniper rifle without using the scope, and then you do it like real fast turning.
That was good.
Modi O'Donnell's music in Halo is incredible. Even though O'Donnell kind of sucks as a person, the music for Halo is unbelievably good. It's always been good. He does great work. I like his stuff quite a bit. In terms of weaknesses, I think teabagging is one of the worst things that's ever happened in society and is not good for anybody. I got Game Awards, which is also really bad.
Yeah,
and
really
I think
bad.
Halo in particular. I mean, Call of Duty picked up this ball and ran with it. So impressively.
Wait, guys, should we have a side thing of the worst things ever where we can put teabagging as the bottom of our worst things ever list?
Well, next week we are going to be talking about hot tea, so maybe we'll put it in there somewhere.
There we go. That's when we'll really talk about teabagging.
Alex, I think you would like this change. You should play Splatoon. Splatoon's a really good game. I like it quite a bit. It's a shooter. But you don't really need to kill anybody ever. It's just about paint.
Oh, you paint them. Yeah.
It's more of a splatter.
You paint the floors. It's really fun. I love Splatoon. Splatoon also has great music.
Fun.
And you can 360 no scope in that as well.
So, bro, Splatoon 2 sucks. Splatoon 3 though, bro.
Dude, Splatoon 3, dude.
Laser, what are your what's your SWOT analysis?
So I never had my own system. So most of my video game with the boys experience was like high school, and it was just dope. It was like you can. We had a LAN party that was sponsored by Bawls.
Oh, Bawls! Remember Bawls?
Forget about Bawls.
By the way, it was just because the beverage section is also gendered, so they had to. The marketing department had to choose Bawls as their name to get the boys on board.
It's so good. I mentioned that if you play online, you can use a fake name, and it's fun. Listen, a lot of what I'm gonna say is through my own specific lens.
I think that's fair. You say scrap metal.
Yeah, that's right. Scrap metal, the dude. Back then, I loved it. I was like, I can hang out with the boys. It's a fun activity because I'm not like other girls. Turns out that was more true than I thought it was. The community of. And the language and stuff. It was just cool to feel like you belonged somewhere, We would always we'd say hacker, cheater, noob a lot, It's but the thing I like generally about video games is what Alex was talking about is that they do get you in a flow state in the way that work is supposed to. And the serotonin is really strong. So when you're doing things like recovering from surgery or just trying to make it through high school without literally killing yourself, it's good to have stuff that that gives you that serotonin. I think they're valuable in that way. And also,
I do think if I had learned better what you guys clearly all did, well, not Ezra, what the other three of you did in high school was learn to regulate that serotonin and differentiate it from other serotonin. If you skip some of that, then it's like, whoa, I'm crushing it right now at life, and then you've accomplished nothing for 3 days. And if you didn't have surgery,
video games have served you though in your life. Being good at them and making them and stuff. Okay, weaknesses: video games. Not enough girls around. No girls play video games, so you don't get to hang out with it. No,
none at all.
They've never done it. I was the only girl.
Yeah, it's really weird that GameStop still has that no girls allowed sign hanging under the entrance.
Hand drawn like a treehouse sign.
Yeah, you go into Target with my wife and you try to go into the electronics section and they're like, "Yo, get her out of here."
No, I'm vouching for her. I vouch for her.
Her money's not good here.
Honey, put on the fedora and the trench coat. Come on in. You gotta pretend.
I feel like I don't know that trans masks wearing fedora and trench coat to pass is a thing, but I think we should try it. I think that should be
Look, it works for 3 children trying to get in an R-rated movie. It'll definitely work.
Exactly.
Anyway, all that to say, there are some sexism problems in the video game industry.
A little bit.
Anyway, and also I wasn't allowed to have a game system because it was evil and expensive. So
that is both of those are reasons why I was not allowed to have one either. The only reason I had an N64 was because I got my appendix burst, and I went to the hospital. My friends sold a bunch of CDs to pool money to go buy a used N64 from the pawn shop. And my mom was still pissed about it because she didn't want to have one in the house. But it was the sweetest thing they've ever done.
That's really nice.
Yeah, my mom didn't let me buy Ocarina of Time for a long time for the N64 because she knew it had gods in it, and I think she thought I was gonna convert to Zeldaism. If I played a game with different gods than her god,
Christian, and now he's a Zelda.
Yeah, he's worshiping Flora, the spirit of the forest, and the spirit of courage and 1/3 of the Triforce.
That's so funny.
I mean, I say Christianity and Legend of Zelda. What's the difference? I ask you. There's a Triforce in both. Okay.
That's true. You actually helped you understand your mom's religion better. Okay, well, so that's our analysis of it. That means it's time to rank it. Let's put Playing Halo with the Boys on the master list. Before we do, for those at home, Ezra, please, will you read for us the current standings from the first 3 episodes, the master list of best things ever?
Number 1, Fresh Bread. Number 2, My Neighbor Totoro. Number 3, Cat Videos.
All right, so we have to figure out where we're going to put Playing Halo with the Boys on this list.
I put it above Fresh Bread. I think you've all convinced me.
No.
Look, I'll take a swing at this right now, which is I think as much as I think playing group video games has meant a lot to me, none of the other things have a distinct culture of racism and sexism. Yeah, so I do suppose this has to be 4th below Cat Videos.
We basically, I don't even think we should rank this, to be honest. I think we should just delete this one. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's good. You did a good suggestion. No one's mad about it. It meant a lot to all of us, but it's hard to put this.
Yeah, and one, I would certainly say maybe not My Neighbor Totoro, but like the food industry and especially like people who make bread. You want to talk about there's no like underlying racism there and misogyny. Like there is certainly a lot in that industry, Alex. I mean the whole
when I went to my
there was
bakery,
a whole that entire what was the YouTube channel that imploded over COVID, Condé Nast.
Guys.
Yeah, I mean, that was this.
Did they make bread?
No, Bon Appetit, right? Or
Bon Appetit. Bon Appetit.
That is problematic. I also did. I bought bread at my local bakery the other day, and when I couldn't pronounce the name of it because it was French, and so the guy teabagged me. It was brutal.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Were you wearing a fedora? Because you gotta wear a fedora.
Should have been. Maybe that would have made me look cooler.
Fault is what I'm saying.
Yo, Baguette sucked, bro. It's all about Counter Compania, man.
I get 2, yeah.
I get 3, man.
Look,
my case for playing Halo is that it is slightly more communal and active than watching My Neighbor Totoro or watching cat videos.
Yeah,
that's my only. And anything that is communal, especially anything that's marketed to men, is gonna be a problem.
That is true, and also is a benefit. Yeah, the fact that it's communal. So communalness is good.
I said this last week, and I'll say it again. I don't really care where you put this one. Pro wrestling's coming up in a few weeks, and I really got to save all my cachet for that. So I really don't care. I'm going to give you guys everything you want for the next few weeks until we get to pro wrestling, and then I got to burn all this capital I'm building up. So
I think I would put it.
Do with it as you will.
Between like after Totoro and before Cat Videos.
Okay,
so
I don't remember a part in the Cat Videos episode where we made reference to gamer words. Okay, it's not like cats are out there being highly problematic on the internet constantly. Yeah. We got to dumpster these boys, all right? Dumpster the boys. That's what I say.
All right.
Wow. Is that your Laser the Boy cover band? Because I'm offended by that.
Dumpster the boys. Yeah. That is a good band name.
I don't want this to seem like this is an insult to it entirely. I do think there's a lot of really good. If you look at our list, more positives than negatives. There's a lot of good things about it, and it's just this is a very solid list. Cat videos are amazing. You know, my neighbor Totoro, very cool. The worst thing about it is not real. I think the right answer is to drop Halo with the Boys to 4th.
Yeah.
Still on the top 4. Still a good thing, but I think it has definitely landed on 4th. So we're going to
I'm down with that.
Play
Boys 4th. Ezra, please summarize for us. Please one more time read this. The master list, the current rankings of the best things.
Okay. So number 1, Fresh Bread. Number 2, My Neighbor Totoro. Number 3, Cat Videos. And number 4, Playing Halo with the Boys.
Pretty excellent list. And that brings us to some business. I have one comment that I really want to read for you guys, which was from Ellie, who said, in response to Anthony, you had some great Miyazaki quotes last week. One of them was like, I don't watch TV or movies. I'm an old man picking up trash. And Ellie, who lives in Tokyo, says, lots of old men pick up trash here, and it's not really curmudgeonly. We're all very grateful for their kindness and care for their towns. This is just like a normal old man's thing to pick up some trash.
Very sweet.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, and to me, it's more of the the first half of the sentence that comes off as curmudgeonly.
One of the best directors of all time being like, I don't watch movies. That's still
trash.
very curmudgeonly, but I do appreciate that he's picking up the trash, and I thought that was a good bit of context to add to this.
Yeah.
One thing I want to do. Go ahead.
I love the idea of an old guy who picks up trash as a sweet guy, and the whole time he's just thinking about how he would love to see this city underwater and abandoned.
Well, to be fair, that's like a power wash, right? So that's like that would save a lot of work.
You could with Tokyo. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I want to put out the solicitation now for our mailbag, which is mail@bestthingeverpodcast.com, and I want to know what your other nominees are. So we have some more nominees planned out for our for section 1 of this year. And obviously, you keep hearing we're going to get to professional wrestling eventually. But I would love to hear other nominees that are not on the list, and we can start building our database of listener suggestions for stuff that we can cover in the future. So send us an email.
Bro, you should put tits on there, bro.
Bro, tits. Bro, no, dude. Bro, tits too.
We had a good conversation in our pre-season episode about upcoming topics about whether we should tackle sex as a topic. Because I do.
We absolutely will.
We just made the best. Yes,
I'm sick that week. I'm not going to be be there for that.
I want to see what Alex Falcone has to say about sex.
The TI-83 champion Alex Falcone.
I've done sex.
I'm going to do like an hour-long presentation on sex, and Alex is going to be like, "Where's the sheet with the hole in it?" What? How could you forget the sheet with the hole?
So please send us your suggestions. You can also tweet them or send us Instagram at BTE
One thing about sex is that my favorite thing about the Xbox is that it's given a name for my sex box, which is in the right there.
Right. The sex box 360, so that you can keep up.
Keep all your stuff in there.
I call mine the PlayStation.
That's good, actually.
I know it kind of works. Is the thing that's surprised
I'm not mad at that.
The Switch?
Yeah, I like to call mine the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
It doesn't last quite as long as the others, but man, the impact is huge.
Yeah, a few very passionate supporters.
Oh, wow.
And every once in a while, I see it in a store, and I reminisce.
Yeah,
that's nice.
What if you had the Jaguar, which is just like seemingly powerful, but also impossible to handle?
Jaguar.
Yeah, everybody doesn't like that. Requires 2 hands now. You have to use your 2 hands independently. Mm-hmm. All right, so at BTE Pod on social, if you want to let us know your best things ever. Coming up next week, I give you a little preview. We're going to be talking about hot beverages. We're specifically going to be talking about coffee and tea, but it'll be just like this. That'll be our specifics, but it'll be generally about hot beverages. But that is coming up next week with another very special guest, and I'm looking forward to that. Laser, coffee or tea?
Tea. I mean, I drink coffee every day, but tea is so much more fun.
Interesting.
I have a whole tea station with cat-themed tea art or tea-themed cat art above it.
Well, I think it's great. We'll probably get into this next week, but to me, it's I also drink coffee every day. I'm not a huge tea fan, but I can't admit the thing is, if you took away the effects of coffee, no one would drink coffee. Yeah. You can take away the effects of tea, and people still drink tea.
I drink at least 1 cup of decaf every day. I don't think that's true. But I do. I think you're generally onto something. I also like that tea is options. You can be I can pick one of 42 teas today and coffee, even if you know the difference between a Guatemalan and Ethiopia. You're still mostly drinking coffee today.
Alex, I have to say, I've been mostly watching you on TikTok and being very impressed. It's fun to be back on a podcast with you and remember that your opinions are just wrong.
Oh my gosh.
It's fun to be. It's if you like me on TikTok, imagine being on a podcast where you can be mean to my face.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's an option. Everybody enjoys. That's everyone's favorite feature.
What level of the Patreon is that?
Where you just get to be on the show.
Yeah, to be mean to Alex.
Yeah, you can come heckle me while I'm recording a podcast.
Yeah,
cameo.
I bet behind you and make faces.
Yeah. All great options. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think it is time to wrap. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to The Best Thing Ever. Our theme music is by @Mitrix. Our logo design is by Tom Typography. You can follow us on social @BTE Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow us on YouTube @Alex Falcone. You can leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. We would like to have at least as many reviews as people on the show currently. That would mean a lot to us.
Please, host, we're talking to you.
Hunter specifically. Mail at bestthingeverpodcast.com. If you want to send us email, we'd love to hear about your possible nominations for Best Thing Ever. The producers of the show are the Duke of Jill, the Best Assistant Regional Manager, Sean, and Claire, title TBD. I'm Alex Falcone. I'm at Alex Falcone on TikTok with an underscore in the middle if you want to be mean to me there. Ezra Fox, thanks for hanging out.
Of course.
Anthony Lopez, good chatting with you. Thanks for your great work on this history. If you want to hear Hunter Donaldson talk about video games, you can listen to Old Gamers Almanac, where they pull up games from the past and analyze them. And then if you want to hear them ranked on a list, that's where you can do it.
Real good.
We've also talked about Halo, so if you want to hear us talk about Halo more, if you want to hear more Halo talk.
Do you talk about all of them or just one?
We've talked about Halo 1, we talked about Halo 3, and Halo 2. Halo 2 sucks, bro. Halo 2.
And then LaserTheBoy at lasertheboy.com to find your new LP that is just released last month.
Yeah, I got a new album. It's called Overreacting. Put it on your Spotify playlist. It's got a lot of stuff about how women are hot on it, which I agree with, and I won't apologize for it.
I feel like, Laser, we have to have the 14-year-old boy talk that we wish we had gotten as 14-year-old boys. I feel like we have to have that conversation with you at some point and
Dude, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. So they don't like it. They don't like it.
That is.
I would actually, if all of you want to be my dad, I would love a talk. I want to know how it all works.
All right, we'll be back for dad talks.
We'll have you on a dad podcast. Is being a dad the best thing ever, Ezra?
I've liked it. Look, best thing. There's some really good part. It's a high range activity, though. I'd say there's a lot of variability there.
Right. There's some gamer words. There's some good parts. LaserTheBoy.com. Also, find Laser the Boy on Spotify. And you know what? Even if you're not listening to music, just put it on, turn your speakers off, walk away. Get those.
I wrote a musical called Teaching a Robot to Love. It's a sci-fi musical about the trans experience. It is a lot more wholesome than I have been on this podcast, and we're trying to get it everywhere.
Does it have a RC car in it that crashes into you?
There is an RC car driven by a hedgehog that will hit you and wake you up if you were my father sitting in the front row of that musical.
Awesome. All great things to check out. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Laser. It's great to have you back.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We'll talk to you again. Everybody, bye.
Bye.
Bye.